Where were we?
Fuck.
What are we? Up top, if you didn't know already, currently it used to be that the Patreon were the only place that you could watch the videos. Now we're making it that if you sign up to the Patreon, you get to get the audio and the video of the podcast a day early, and then on Fridays, folks will get the video and the audio as well.
Yes, that's what we have agreed.
From last week. But yeah, so you can sign up to the Patreon for any amount of money.
10p as you suggested last week.
Whatever you are comfortable with us getting an email to notify us about.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's essentially
like we will see your name and the amount you donated. So, don't be taking the piss.
And we'll also see if you haven't donated at all.
Mm-hmm.
So but yeah, so
as we said, we're the frontline workers for the frontline workers. We're providing an essential service to the people providing that essential
exactly.
service.
Yes.
The word needs laughter.
Exactly. And it needs
I've
more.
I've always said that. I actually penned that.
I think you did. Yeah. But so yeah, please, sign up. It's hopefully, and as we were saying last week as well, if there's anything you want to see, or if there's anything that you've heard us say we would do and then classically didn't.
That is so like us.
It's so like us. But you remember thinking that would be cool if they did that.
Like the go-karting.
Like
which
the
go-karting. I think it might be my favourite one yet.
I'm still upset we didn't go bowling.
We could do a whole
make a whole day.
We could do a whole stag do.
I think you should do your stag do.
Yeah. I have a few packages.
Few
different packages depending on what sort of stag that you want.
If you were to start a business as a stag party provider,
mm-hmm.
let's work out the bronze package, and then let's skip silver, go straight to gold.
Now.
No, because like I'm gonna have budgets.
Yeah.
So I'm currently real Nathan, and I go, Mick, I have. So you're not coming on the stag now. You're just the stag booker.
Mm-hmm.
Now maybe you make it.
Okay.
I'm going to guess maybe you make it part of the package that you come on the stag because it is your.
Actually, that's the gold package.
Because it is. But so entry level, I come to you, or I'm the best man, I guess, and I come to you and I go, Mick, I would like you to organize a stag for my friend Nathan, or we'll say it's not me, just my friend Brian.
So I'm going to need a debrief on this Brian character.
Okay, Brian is a close and personal friend of mine who I have known for many years. Mm-hmm. I have great zingers about him, which you will sadly not hear in my speech. Maybe you will, depending on how this experience goes. But Ryan, whose name I've forgotten already, my close and personal friend. Brian is... he's just a classic GAA sort of lad.
Okay. Gotcha.
He's fond of a few pints, loves nothing more than hanging out with the lads, doesn't care what we're doing. He embarrasses easily. He'd be a fan of adventure, but coming to my second point, broke as fuck.
Okay, so he's broke. Okay.
So he has a budget of £500. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
What is the bronze package? Stag, Mick, Muck, McCullough.
So the bronze package obviously isn't the full experience. Okay. We're probably limited to about a 70-mile radius from Belfast. And
that's pretty good.
Conveniently enough, would you believe Oma is about 70 miles away from Belfast?
I've never heard of this. So, Oma, sell it to me.
I would take him there, and I would take him to a great wee pub, McCann's Bar.
Okay.
We would have a few pints there. Go to the pizza next door.
What's the pizza next door?
Giuseppe's.
Okay. Yeah. The famed Giuseppe's.
Equidistant from the two pizza capitals of the world, New York and Italy. Right slap bang in the middle. I haven't looked it up, but I'm pretty sure that's why it's so good. Then I guess we'd all go home to my house. Maggie put on a roast or fry up the next morning from Maggie. And to watch the football, back for a roast, bed by 7. That's the bronze package.
500 quid.
12 lads.
Where's my money going? Well, you gotta buy a roast for fucking 12 lads. It's fucking fairly expensive dinner, like.
Now, the silver package.
Okay. How much? How much we talking?
We're talking $7.50.
Okay.
So I'm thinking Zorb football for your close and personal friend Ryan, was it?
And/or Brian.
And/or Brian. Ryan or Brian. I think they're the type of lads, maybe a bit of Zorb football.
Okay.
Then where would we go then? Maybe.
What do you mean, where would we go? What kind of a fucking business are you running?
I don't know the silver. Not everybody goes for the silver package. They're in for a penny or in for a pound.
Right, okay.
Nobody's in for 50p. So this is the kind of commitment you get with the silver package.
Okay.
Now, I'll tell you what, I'll skip the silver package. I'll go straight to the gold.
Go straight to gold.
Don't care where Ryan or Brian have been in their lives. Okay. It doesn't matter.
How much, right off the bat, how much is this gold?
Grand. So it was 500, 750 a grand. It's easy for thick men to figure out.
Let's scale up to $2,000.
Right, $2,000.
Two full grand.
There's 10 people. That's 200 quid a pop.
That's less people than I was allowed to bring for the bronze package. But carry on.
How many people are in the bronze package?
12.
Where the hell they all fit in my house? Mikey, put 2 more roast dinners on it.
It's going to cost you 50 quid for the Amazon price of the extra 2 chairs.
The gold package now.
Just for your house. I need to buy 2 chairs that I will keep.
From Laura Ashley. The gold package is I take them to a city that I'm very familiar with.
Okay. Omagh.
Again, Omagh. And I make a few.
We go to McCann's bar.
Yeah.
Afterwards, we go to Giuseppe's.
And I suss out what.
What's the city?
Galway. So I'm just always looking. Or Carlingford's good.
Said no one.
Yeah,
Sorry.
Carlingford's great.
I have no idea.
It's
I just
a
thought it'd be
great
funny.
spot for any sort of event.
Okay.
It's
Where's Carlingford?
It's on the border of Armagh and Louth.
Okay.
Yeah. It's just,
So we're going far
yeah.
for the gold package.
Okay, right. For the gold package. Well, I'm thinking I don't want
What
to.
if we wanted the best chips in the country?
you want us to go to Cork?
Sorry.
I don't think Ryan/Brian is the sort of guy that you take to Hamburg and find out what's your favorite ethnicity of stripper and drug of choice. No, I'm joking.
Fuck's sake.
Yeah, it's all dependent on the stag in question.
Okay, say it's me.
I knew you were going to say that.
Okay.
Fuck, I knew you were going to say that.
Okay, you're planning my stag.
I think yours would be activity heavy. A lot of plenty of room for roughhousing, I think.
Okay.
No, I know you didn't like being thrown in the pool, but I know you had a great time down at Todd's Leap, and I think I think you would get into the paintball kind of side.
Fuck paintballing, man. I went for my brother's stag, and it fucking hurts too much, man. Like, I assume you've been paintballing.
I actually haven't been paintballing.
Wow.
I kind of assumed I would get the same thrill out of paintballing that I would out of Let's Go Hydro, which is the first 10 minutes you get to play, Rambo or whatever.
No. Well, I'll say one thing as a mark against the experience that we had. It was a rainy, shitty day, and the visors that are meant to be have airflow through them so that they don't fog up weren't working correctly. So I was just walking around in the rain and the cold, just unable to see, and it was just like, you know when you're like swimming and your goggles get you kind of stick your fingers in under the goggles or you don't wear goggles, you think they're fucking for losers or something, as we found out fucking 2 weeks ago. But
did I make that stance?
Yes, I was editing the podcast, so I remember what we said last week. But you took a hard line on goggles.
They make you look ridiculous.
I was like, you were on about Todd's Leave, and I was like, were you wearing goggles? You're like, I wasn't wearing goggles.
Why? That's right. Let's Go Hydro.
Yeah,
Let's
Go Hydro.
Yeah, I mean, you don't want to be under that water for any length of time. Like, I got out. I was glad to be out of the places. Like, there was a lot of people in there, and once you're in the drink, you're spitting it out, and it's
you're
grim. In a big coil reservoir, open carried off. Like.
Yeah. It's fucking disgusting. But yes, also my least favorite moment of paintballing was at one point I remember I stuck my did we over the back. Right? And thought I had a fella, right?
Can't fault your optimism.
So I was like, I had taken cover behind this like fucking pallet or something. Probably, I don't know what the fuck it was. Imagine those lads walking around designing those courses just with a fag on, just going, I don't know, war stuff. We've all played Call of Duty for fucking make it up. I don't know, war, but on a cattle farm, but just off to one side of it. I stuck the head up, and I saw a lad that I was like, I could probably get him, and fucking went over, and as I was going over, a paintball landed right here. Like, so my fingers were like in the trigger, and a paintball just hit me like right in the finger. And it was my least favourite thing that's ever happened to me.
Were you dishonourably discharged from active duty?
That round, it was like if you got hit, you had to run back to the start and go again or something. It was a capture the flag or something. I can't remember. But my brother Adam then, who was the stag also, another reason I want to go paintballing is that apparently it's like the tradition at the end of paintballing that the stag has to do the stag run. And he had a shield, because in fairness they were sound enough about it. They were like, we'll give you a shield. Yeah. And I was like, his ankles are bare. And thought it'd be class to shoot him in the foot, and then I shot him in the ankle, got him, and he could not walk for a while, and he had an ankle injury going in, which has been niggling him for years, and it was probably bad for him. And then I was like, who's that? But my brother Adam, a slight aside from paintballing, my brother Adam told me once he was on a stag for my cousin Ian, who was in the Irish Army, and so on his stag was the Irish Army. So they went paintballing, but they got matched up with just another group of lads. So it was just some group of lads versus the Irish Army.
Not the IRA, we should probably, for our international listeners.
Yeah, the actual trained with fucking automatic weapons, real ass UN peacekeeping mission serving Irish Army. And so apparently these lads were going like, right lad, like proper like fucking right, you go, you flank, and you fucking, army words. And apparently by the end, some of the boys from the other surrendered, were crying.
Waving the way.
And we're just like, this was supposed to be
I don't want to get married anymore. I don't want to get married, I just want to live.
He said one of them was just like, this was meant to be a bit of crack. He said the boys were so accurate, nobody was getting them, they couldn't even see them. They had already covered themselves in mud and stuff, just like boys hiding down dressed as leaves.
Boys coming out of the pond.
You just fucking full fucking mud face. You know what I mean? Just fucking. Are they eyes? I see. Weren't even wearing the visors, didn't need them.
But a stag is all dependent on the man of the hour.
I would have, like, if I hadn't been paintballing, I'd be so up for it. But just after doing it, like,
so
fuck
what
that.
I'm getting for your stag is you want to watch other people get annihilated, your people, while you sit with a drink and a cigar on a throne at the side of the field.
Absolutely, yeah. I'll be the Craig Charles commentary, like Takeshi's Castle. I'll just sit there with one friend who'll be chosen out of a hat.
You're going to listen to my witty patter.
Yeah, that's what I want for my stag. Just a captive audience.
That's all I ever want from life is a captive audience.
That'll be your stag. I'll just book a gig for you to go up and be like, look, Mick, they're not expecting anything in particular, but they have been given strict instructions to adore every moment of it.
Brilliant.
And you just get up and be like, fucking flowers and all at the end. Everyone's got a bouquet of flowers. But
I'll organise my own.
Well, no better man. You know what I mean? Nobody else
I've seen my own CV.
Nobody else has the commitment and the experience.
I'll tell you what, I'm fatigued by it now. I'm exhausted.
It's a tough game.
It's a tough game.
Having all that crack.
It's a young man's game, the stag business.
I fucking, it was one of the worst hangovers of my life after my brother's one. Like, I just fucking, it was absolute carnage. Just the drinking, just the amount of drinking and the shots and the fucking, I was just like, I have never drank like this. This isn't even like, I can't remember the last time I drank like this. It was like, I never did this.
Hate drinking shots. I fucking hate it.
Yeah. It is a bit.
I have a delicate stomach.
That doesn't surprise me.
I waited on that boat and everything. Like, went in and was like, I had a shot and I was like, I'm just gonna go in here and boat. Come back out.
Nothing better than a little tactical boat.
Just fucking. Yeah. Although I don't think anybody made it off that boat in any fit way. Apparently, there was a whole big plan after the boat for people to go places, and everybody just kind of the boat
Wobbled
docked up
off.
after 5 hours up and down the Corrib, drinking wherever we were getting the barrels of stout from. They stopped twice,
You said, yeah.
but everybody got off the boat and just kind of sea legs, proper sea legs, like.
I want, when I think about it, I feel that Orla's hen party will be the stuff of legend. I feel like it'll be spoken about in quiet circles for years.
Why?
I've seen that woman drink, and she doesn't do it often. I don't know. But when she does, she can drink. Like,
She just has staying power.
it's incredible. There is no
Hardest to get going, hardest to get stopped.
Yeah, like just will fucking keep that party going. She'll be dragging the rest of them along by the end of it, going like, fucking Supermax is still open. But yeah, it'll be mighty.
I don't know. I don't know even know what she'll plan on doing, really. I mean, there was like, we should just do a big group one. And I was like, isn't that the wedding?
Yeah,
Yeah.
correct. Yeah. Yeah, fuck that. You'll have plenty of time to be fucking sitting making me miserable for the rest of our lives. Let me have one more night with the lads. Yeah. Yeah, fuck me. I can't even. The thought of a stag now would make.
This next one's in October as well. It's just going to be Kyle. It's going to be Kyle.
Is it like a very outdoorsy sort of a one?
There was talk of a boat, but to somewhere, but I don't think that.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not sure. Actually, I can't say too much because I know the fucker listens, so I don't want to give any
Really?
more
Yeah,
away.
yeah. We can even bleep out the bit where you say boat, and just badly overdub paragliding. Throw him off the
Throw
scent.
him off the scent completely.
Yeah. Be like, there's talk of paragliding, and then he'll just be like, "Huh, you let that slip there, Mick. I know." You'll be like, "You fucking don't know fucking."
I want to go wild camping for mine with a bag full of mushrooms. You have to take them or you're not invited. We're all going to go into the forest and just never be seen again.
Would you? How have you thought about the plans for the wedding?
We chatted about it loads. Obviously at that weekend it was all very enthusiastic. We mentioned a couple of places, but we haven't decided what sort of wedding we kind of want.
Margaret already has a folder.
Or
I haven't asked her yet.
how long has she had the folder?
A while.
Before she met you?
She's got the date booked and all.
Does she actually?
No. But imagine.
Just whoever's here at the time. I just need to hang on to that. Hang on to that date and I'm sweet. I'm sweet.
There was a deal on. She does have a folder though, which cracks me up. And it's just in the living room. I see it.
Just like propped out from the bookshelf a wee bit.
Just in the spine. She's Tipexed at some point, I suppose.
The inevitable.
Sorry, but I
Have you had a look at it? What's in it?
I haven't actually because I don't fucking care. The whole thing makes me so angry, like weddings, man. Just like after having been to so many.
Well,
from,
this is
from playing.
kind of having been.
I'd like to rephrase that.
Yeah,
it's not
I
that I'm
know.
not excited about getting married to Margaret. It's just the thought of after having been to so many, all my favorite ones that I've ever been to as a guest have been essentially done not. I wouldn't say on the cheap. It's not that.
Yeah.
It's just it.
It's not the hotel
But the spirit,
standard.
yes, the spirit of it has
Yeah.
always been. There's been thought gone into what's the most important thing here, and it's the people that are here.
Yeah.
And there's going to be plenty of drink, plenty of food. There'll be a band. There'll be a bit of crack, and we'll all have a great time. And there'll be no fucking bouncer coming in at fucking 1 a.m. going, right, folks, please. And those have been the best ones. Those have been my favorite ones.
I'm with you on that. Like, and I think me and Orla both said definitely not be
'Cause
like
the fucking,
in a hotel.
yeah,
Not that there's anything wrong. I've just been
no,
to loads of them, so
not at all. They just seem so expensive, man. Like,
yeah,
like
scary. Like
it's mental. Like you could drop fucking 10 grand on a
we
wedding.
started like we were chatting about numbers and stuff, and Arnold was like, you need to start whittling. And I was like, no, I'll be grand. Next thing you start, and I opened up the old spreadsheet. As you know, I'm a bit of a spreadsheet aficionado.
Right next to your stag spreadsheet.
It's a-
Sheet 2.
And writing off as soon as you start fucking writing the guest list down. You don't worry, you made it. You made the.
Well, just me and your closest friends.
Especially at this stage in our life as well, a lot of our friends, like we have our circle of friends vastly overlaps, and a lot of them are all married already with their own partner, so that just immediately doubles the number. So I don't know, it's fucking stressful. Me and Orla are not flush, you know. I've never been flush. The closest I've ever been flush was 2019. Remember my fucking victory parade the whole of December where I spent it in the cans, like thinking, this is me, I'm set now, this is my career.
Comedy writer.
I am about to go stratospheric, baby. I'll be posing in Vanity Fair beside Paul Mescal and make fucking gas shirts. Paul Mescal and fan on the cover of Vanity Fair.
They'll put you next to pictures of Paul Rudd just to show that time has passed. That fucking cunt is so handsome. And he still looks 30.
It's insane how little he's actually
It's
aged.
crazy, yeah. But have you got the guests thing is something that really, really stresses me, like when I've thought about it. Because like Margaret has my mum, there's 13 of them. And my mum is the second youngest. So all my cousins essentially are older than me. And then there's my dad's side, which is smaller. And then all my friends that like even if I was to really brutally whittle it down, there's going to be at least probably 50 people just of them. And then there's all Margaret's side. Her mum has 13 brothers and sisters. Her dad has 3 brothers, I think. And like, it just like, you're like, fuck me, that's like, you're probably talking like.
I says to me, I was like, because Dad's one of 15, and I was like, none of the fucking there'd be very little aunties and uncles, and there's a handful of cousins who I know, and the rest of them can get fucked.
Yeah.
Because there's like 100 in them.
It's the way
on
to
your
go.
side alone. And he was like, that's grand. Nobody wants to go to a fucking wedding anyway. That's my dad. So he's like, just invite who you want. So I was like, sweet.
I'm relying on the fact that I'm so far away that I can send out a couple of invites, you know. Just be like, you probably can't make it. You know, just a couple of those, and hopefully I'll fucking. But some of them will call my bluff. They'll get a bus. They'll organise a bus and they'll make a whole fucking weekend out of it. It'll be terrible. But
that's what's stopping you.
There's also so many people that I know would end up like this. Is I wonder is this crossed your mind now? But there's so many people that would have to be there that I don't want to be there, and that stresses me out.
Like who?
Oh, I'll name them all here now. Or just most of them. No, like just like extensions of family members, you know, like or just like or extent like far extensions of I don't want to be too specific, but just people are just like, oh, you're probably going to be there, and I'll sit you with the rest of the cunts.
You know how people name their tables? The Shire of Cunts table. I'm at the Shire of Cunts. Are you sitting in the Shire of Cunts?
That's a term of endearment. So how big do you have you whittled the numbers down to like a couple hundred or something like?
Oh, like I mean, but this is all like money dependent, really. Like you're talking probably max 150 would be your very max.
Yeah.
That when we were out there in Leicester was 80 people, and it was fucking lethal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
it was really nice.
Absolutely, yeah. I think,
it's.
I think a good way to go is like you keep the numbers for like up until the meal small, and then you're just like whatever the capacity of the room is.
Yeah,
you can just be like you can come after.
Yeah,
I think that's a good way to do it. Like, to be honest, that's the only bit of the wedding that I want to go to anyway. I
see. We chatted about we chatted about doing it in the Ulster American Folk Park outside Oma.
Oh right.
Have you ever been there?
No.
So it's like it's an outdoor museum that you kind of walk through pre-famine Ireland, and then part of the actual exhibition is like a recreation of like the docks, and you get on like a coffin ship. Like it's an actual like coffin ship, and you kind of walk through it, and then you're into like the new land, American. It's a fucking class place. It's really nice.
Cool.
But they do weddings there, and you can have like you have your meal on the docks, you know. And you board the coffin ship, go over and into the barn in the next part for the
class.
Yeah,
that sounds really cool.
But I was saying like we could really lean into it, save ourselves a fortune, and say it's like all famine chic, so there's going to be no dinner served.
Famine chic is one of my favorite ever.
Imagine that, everybody.
Trav, get on it.
Everybody coming with a card full of money, because you know everybody's always like, well, you want to cover your meal at least, and you fucking just pocketing it and going, aye, might be a bit of cheese in America. We'll see when we get to the barn.
Oh man, yeah, that sounds class, man.
Yeah,
I like, honestly, I would love like nothing more than to just like honestly just get a big field somewhere and just be able to do what I want to it for the day. And I know I could like set it up really cool, and it would just, I mean, what does it need to be? You know, it just needs to be somewhere for people to have a bit of crack, and where the music can be powered to be loud enough for people to dance to, and that is it. That's really all that matters. Like any wedding I've ever been to, I've never left thinking, Jesus, the curtains were gorgeous, or the fucking table dressing was class, or I mean, just sometimes you're like, oh, that's kind of cool party favor thing, or whatever the fuck. Like,
I spent £600 on chair covers.
Yeah, fuck off forever.
This like, chair is just a chair. It does not need a white dress on it.
It doesn't, like, it
doesn't need to wear one.
It's so dumb. Like, it's not dumb. It's just I can't. Personally, I can't justify it.
You've been to so many because you play them. You see how the industry is built up around it, and then these things, rather than become like nice touches, then people start to think that they are a necessity for a good day, and that's. But that's just like the industry.
There was one I'll never forget playing, man. I don't know if I knew the people. I won't say where it was, but it was. It wasn't far of a drive, and I turned up, and the night before they had a school formal on in there. And I rocked up.
Still cleaning the vomit, really?
I rocked up a half an hour before the ceremony was due to start. They hadn't arrived yet, but they were imminent. And all the front of the hotel where, you know, the fucking red carpet was about to be fucking rolled out, and had been over. And where I imagine a lot of photographs were going to be taken. Fag butts.
I thought you were going to say just students.
Comatose teenagers. Fag butts everywhere. Rubbish. I mean, like empty fag boxes, like fucking coasters, just shit everywhere. Like, I mean, fucking everywhere, man. And it's not a cheap place. It's not mad, but it's not a cheap place to get your fucking wedding done. And like I started loading in, and they were fucking working away, and I just went up and was just like, I'm really sorry, this has nothing to do with me, and I mostly don't care, but I feel like it should just be pointed out, just in case it's just a matter of someone having not seen this yet. But they're going to arrive in like 10 minutes, and outside is a fucking disgrace. I was like, it really is a fucking disgrace. And I know, like, I've had friends get married here. I know how much it costs to get married. The least you could do is sweep out the front of the fucking place where they're going to walk into the most expensive, important day of their lives. You fucking lunatics. Like, and they were like, oh, we didn't see it. And I was like, cool. Well, you should definitely put that on your new checklist of things to check after a fucking formal has been here.
There's a kid out there choking on his own vomit.
Literally.
He's moved. They're about to arrive.
Like, I never care about anything like that, but it was like, that's bad form. Like, that's just like, I was just like that. I would be fucking gutted. Like, imagine like, because like a room like that, and like hotels are extortionate. Like, you could be talking like fucking, for like even like relatively small rooms, you would talk like 2 grand, like just to have the room for a night, like, and you're just like, that's crazy money, and you can't even sweep up the fag butts off the floor. It's so hectic. Like full ashtrays, you know, like just like they've made a monument, you know, those ones where they're just there's no more room. Like awful, terrible.
Imagine the photos of like the fucking
fucking mental, man. But yeah, is there any like wedding cliches that you're either A, really excited to do yourself, or B, adamant that like we're not doing that? Is there any like?
It's a good question. Well, there's no priest. There won't be a priest in a 5-mile radius.
So what kind of a service are you going to have?
I'll probably be humanist. We want Arda's cousin, Aoife, who we're really, really, really fond of, and who's a great person and is very funny. We think she should do it. Like,
great. I'm judging by the way that you're bigging Aoife up here. You haven't got a quote yet. Lovely person, really nice.
No, because I had the idea from my mate Kira. Got married and I was playing at her wedding. And it was fucking lethal. But she had all her best mates as bridesmaids, and then like her fucking other best mate officiating the wedding. And it was really class. It was just really nice. And I was like, why would you have some fucking old fucking priest?
Love.
That's all I fucking hear on priests.
Yeah. I've done a couple of weddings where they've been really nice, and then I've done a couple of weddings where they just there's an element of like. Do
you know who else looked beautiful in white? Jesus Christ,
our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. No, I feel like there's sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes I feel like there's an element of like, you know, mass numbers are down, and they're like, this is my fucking Glastonbury. You know what I mean? Let me tuck that fucking collar in here, looking fucking good, Father. You know what I mean? Like, let's do mass. And like, there's a bit. I sometimes feel like there's an element of like, well, I'm gonna fucking show them what mass is all about.
Yeah, if you're gonna get married in a church, you're about to get fucking married in a church. Yeah. You're about to see what the fucking church part really means.
Yeah, 100%. It's always a bit of a. You can tell because some priests know the crack and they're just like, do you out the fuck? You know, it's like they know the crack. Hope you have a lovely life together.
They're just to get the wee wage, the wee envelope.
Hope you have a lovely life together and fucking best of luck. And you're now married and off you go. And aren't you gorgeous and everything's brilliant?
And also, I never bought once that either of yous haven't read. Never bought it. Just wanted to say that now. You lied to a priest. Have a good evening. Priest out! Boom! Smoke bomb!
It's still there, carving up the communion and all.
Eating
neck in the wine.
Eating the excess sacrament. Can't waste it. It is literally Jesus. That is literally what I believe. That is literally what we believe as Catholics. This is Jesus. I'm not going to leave him here. I have to eat him or he'll go bad. You don't want a bad Christ in your hands.
He's 2,020 years old, but this extra week would really spoil the whole batch. I remember as a kid, before it was later explained to me, I was going to say better, but it still doesn't really make sense to me. But the communion is a symbol, obviously, of the body of Christ.
No,
wait, no, please. But like as a child,
I see the old Protestants have got to you.
But as a child, I remember going like, how would they fucking slice that?
Did they use a spiralizer on Christ?
This cunt must have got fucking been on the Barry at JML, the mandolin. I hope he used the guard for that one. Fuck me, he must have would have took the fingers clean, huh? But just being like, how did they get it? It's lasted all this time. Like,
I remember.
It must be down to the toes.
I remember thinking like when they're telling in primary school, like, no, Jesus is inside you, and I was like, I remember being like, just being like, where inside? Like, is he okay in there? How is he in us all?
I should wash more. Sorry, Christ. I remember, like, did you go to mass much? Did you have to go to mass much? Fuck, I've really. It's not a breathing liquid now. Is that vape? But it's one or the other. Like, I remember, like my nana used to always make us go, like, if we ever had to stay with her or whatever, and she was like, and she was a
front row.
She was a great believer, and her religion was very important to her, and I always remember thinking like she I don't know if I think I mean, my dad had her told like that we must have missed you, and like fucking we must have went to the other mass. It's closer to the house and all this kind of stuff. But I'd say she called our bluff a few times and turned up to Claro Church, and there was fucking no sign of us at all. What was he talking about?
Rugrats.
Yeah.
What happened on Rugrats last week?
Ronaldo scored a hat trick. That's all I fucking know, grandma. But I remember even like just like not long after getting my communion, I still hadn't decided if I was going to do the tongue out or the handout. You know what I mean? And like just all the trials and tribulations of.
I've never went for the tongue out.
That's a gross way to do it. Yeah. I saw people do
it. Priesty tobacco finger right down the gullet.
Thanks. Yeah. No thanks. You went there. I was surprised. But yeah. Isn't it all mad? Mass.
Yeah, it's a little fucking. Yeah.
It is mad.
The Protestants had it right. The Protestants had it right.
Do you ever? I'm gonna make a.
But don't tell them that. I'll never hear the end of it.
Do you ever?
We've always convinced them that they didn't have it right. If we fucking let the game up now,
Our father's too long. Do you ever? Am I don't know. I'm sure we have, or if we haven't, I've just assumed. But where do you fall in the kind of divine kind of sense of the world? Sort of like, do you believe in much, or what do you believe in, or?
Somewhere between atheist and agnostic, which
is agnostic.
Yeah, I know that sounds weird. It's like I'm not, but when I say agnostic, I don't believe in like a deity.
Yeah,
but which again,
I don't believe in dieting either.
bring it back to my enthusiasm talking about psilocybin and mushrooms and LSD and DMT. I think like that book I was reading, How to Change Your Mind. I mean, across the board, these experiences, like using a chemical compound to induce a transcendental spiritual experience, which I'm totally, absolutely, and eager to experience that.
Same.
But as an actual deity that we have been in an image, or that we've supposedly been created in their image, no, I don't believe that. And I don't believe. Yeah, that's.
Yeah, I don't. I don't know. Like, I mean, obviously no one knows, but like, I felt like I was like super hardline. Like definitely atheist until more recently. Like I would have been like, nah, but like why? Like would anything at all, but. And it's similar to you, like I don't believe in like I don't think I believe in like a specific. I definitely don't believe in a religion.
I believe we can access like we can tune into the universe in ways that in our normal life we don't, and that is the divine. I think like I think there's way more that are because our brains are conditioned to make patterns of things to help just by processing the information. So we don't probably see the world the way it's actually, well, I mean, there's no objective way to say this is how the world is, because there's just not. But I do believe there is a collective unconsciousness that a consciousness separate from your own, that you can be a part of, separate from your own ego and from your own mind. And it's accessing that is like experiencing the divine from what the new science of psychedelics has taught me anyway. Very convincing book. I haven't stopped shouting on about it since.
I'll do mushrooms, Jesus Christ. The only thing that like.
But sorry, sorry to go on about that further. A lot of the iconography from religion, and I think a lot of the things like the trends, and I don't want to say tropes of a lot of like so many of the warring religions have so much in common with virgin births are common across. Like someone born of a virgin is a common thing in religion. That's not just Judeo-Christian. There's a few other just kind of beats that they all hit. Yeah, and I think like the fact that all these cultures, it speaks to this mono experience, this mono culture that everything has been derived from, and it obviously has mutated, but mutated and being passed down to things where it gets into stories about the Virgin Mary and the, you know, like this icon of this virginal caring figure is obviously something representing of the, you know, the feminine aspect, the nurturing, things like that. So like, and there's definitely a reason why all these religions all around the world that may have never had any cultural interactions all have these similar themes running throughout their faiths, and that to me, as well, I think I've talked about like chanting, meditation, prayer is like a bastardized form of like chanting.
Yeah.
And chanting is another way to induce that sort of state of mind, especially if you're doing it as a collective. So all these things, they're all probably have. That's why I'm not that dismissive. Well, I am a little bit dismissive of religious people, just because I think, for the most part, it's more harm than good. But all the things that people take solace in, I think, they predate organized religion. Those structures and those icons and those what the fuck is the word I'm trying to go for here? Traditions.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So yes and no, there is and there isn't is my answer. Like,
yeah.
Great fucking classic muck answer there.
I've
holes killing me from sitting on this fence.
Yes. I think like the only thing that really kind of ever keeps me like hanging on to any sort of an idea of anything or is just like if you really just try to zoom out as far as you can, like why? You know what I mean? Like fucking why? Like is there anything? Like why is there anything? Like that's
now you're coming around to my way of thinking.
But you know what I mean?
Should you have a panic attack anymore?
But you know, like, but you know, I try and like imagine, like, just like, but why is there anything? Now, I definitely, this is a really roundabout way to kind of get back to what I was going to ask, but yeah, I personally like, so I would have been super atheist. I kind of think now, I don't know what I think. I'm kind of maybe similar to what you're saying. No one knows. 2, yeah, no one knows the answer, and anyone who says that they have the answer is lying, I think.
Usually a grifter. Anybody who has answers, almost always a grifter.
Yeah, and
it's a good life lesson to live by.
Yeah, 100%. And I guess like just, you know, secondly, yeah, I can't get past that thing of just like, why is there anything? So I guess where I fall is just like, yeah, I don't believe in any particular religion. I don't know what I think about any of the various prophets or stories that come from various religions. Like really, not to sound like dismissive or whatever, but like I feel like an awful lot of it can just be down to like people not really haven't had seen much, you know, like
things written a couple of 100 years after they were supposed to.
Yeah, like especially like wasn't the Bible written like over 100 years?
I'm
after?
not sure. I don't know.
It's something.
Definitely
like,
wasn't.
It wasn't being taken. There wasn't. They're not minutes from a meeting. Like you know what I mean. It's like
they weren't live streaming it. You know?
Like
it wasn't like a minute by minute.
Like to imagine. Like, you know, like so for
going to be live tweeting Christ's gospel here, guys. Hey guys, it's me, Matthew. It's us, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. We're taking over Christ's Twitter account. And we're going to be live tweeting everything that he says.
Judas destroys Jesus
with one kiss.
And Jesus just tweets out an acceptance of an apology that he hasn't given yet. Just be like, it's okay, Judas. And he's like, fucking Jesus, high roads, Judas. But
isn't that another thing as well? Like Judas, that's a thing apparently is that was not taught that was a thing that was taught to me at an incredibly young age, just like it was no thing that Judas Iscariot hung himself from a tree afterwards. They just thought that was a grand thing, a grand image to put into a really, really young kid's
mental.
For years. Apparently that wasn't a thing in like outside of Catholicism. I don't think like Catholicism's all about the gory details. I haven't seen The Passion of the Christ, but I hear it's a fucking
it's
a riot.
Apparently so. But yeah, I just. But anyway, to bring it back to what I was going to ask, I was going to say, do you ever, and I can't even remember why now this was relevant, but I'm going to just carry on.
Okay. We're 3 hours and is God dead?
Do you ever, and I don't mean this to sound patronizing or condescending, and it really isn't, and I get to decide that, but do you ever feel envious of the people who have a strong faith or a belief in anything?
Not really envious of the belief, but envious that people can feel happy enough sometimes with the routine that not questioning things offers. The solace and routine of like, well, it's all been taken care of. All we have to do is just kind of live out our lives in trying to be comfortable and relatively happy. And once we
heard that too.
Did that sound like bullets?
It did.
That was 3 shot.
Yeah, 3. Bit of automatic weaponry fire there, didn't it?
Weird. I'll have to fucking check the news after that.
That's probably all.
It's Christ, he's back and he's here shit talking about him.
Return of the Christ.
Out of my way, loser. What was on about there?
Jesus or something.
What were we talking
Are you envious of people with faith?
Yeah, that's it. I'm envious. And then they're like, when we get to the end of life, that's when the real party starts. What blows my mind, I guess, I mean, there's no concept of linear time in an afterlife. But then what is, like, you know, because you can't, I find it really hard to think abstractly like that about when something is supposedly not linear. So if you're in a perpetual state of being for eternity and all your mates are there and all your beloved pets are there, is that just you? You're just there. There's no way you're, it's not like,
I feel bad for the lads who got or you know, like,
we're not all
remarried after maybe like a spouse passed on or something, and they're stuck with like fucking 3 wives or fuck.
Heavenly gangbang.
I didn't think about the logistics of this later.
If there is an afterlife and it is eternal, then you're not going to be the form that you think you are, and you're not going to have the consciousness that you think you are.
What do you think? What do you think? Like the best case scenario, right? You die, you go to heaven. How do you fill your days?
That's it, like, you know.
Monopoly.
A bit of badminton with the boys. I don't know why I said badminton.
Maybe the afterlife is just reincarnation, and you just.
I'd be more inclined to.
You just carry on with that shit.
Lean towards that way. I think you definitely. I mean, in a way that you die, you rot, your flesh rots, you become the soil, and away you go. You feed the fucking animals.
Not if big coffins have anything to do with it. They're building those things more secure than ever. You won't reincarnate for another millennia.
If you can get out of it.
If you can even get out of it.
I think the era of...
Can you imagine if that was the selling point for a coffin company? No chance of reincarnation.
Yeah. You don't know where you... Listen, reincarnation is a fucking Russian roulette gamble. You don't know where you're going to end up. And with this bad boy, you can rest assured that you will rest eternally in this.
Free of more lives.
All you have to do...
We're probably sending someone absolutely spiraling with that fucking chat. Oh my God. It's probably bad juju to be fucking chatting about that. Like, oh my God.
What I was going to say is I think the era of the fancy coffin is definitely...
It's so out of vogue. Yeah.
Put me in a wicker basket, fuck me in the sea.
Yeah, I want a Viking funeral. I think that'd be incredible. Yeah, my mum's always said that she'd be a great chat as some of the or she'd be a great fan of just some fucking mentally morbid chats that she's no problem just dropping on you. You know, she'd be like, "I've figured out how I'll be buried," and you're like, "Class." Let's pause the Antiques Roadshow. You know, but just like, go. What is it? You've been on the laptop again? But yeah, and like she wants fucking. There's like these pods you can be put into,
for the tree,
and then be buried as a tree.
Yeah,
it's quite nice.
Yeah, it's nice. You're kind of buried like it's almost like fetal position.
Yeah. Or as
imagine that at the wake. You in a wee fucking egg pod. Never buck naked in an egg pod like fetal position.
He went out to this world as he came into it in a sack of liquid.
He looks so peaceful.
We've gone very existential.
We have.
Fair
it's
play
about
to us.
time. I've
It's
been waiting for
about
this.
time we got round to the meaning of life.
I didn't even really spiral.
I'm proud of you.
I'm proud of myself.
I'm proud of you. I'm spiraling.
Shit.
But yeah, I don't know. I feel like where I currently am makes me more stressed about life than I imagine I would be if I felt like there was like the certainty that I am envious of folks that just they're like, well, it'll all be okay after. You know?
Apparently, psilocybin is a great reducer of end of life anxiety. It's remarkably successful for people who are cancer sufferers who are terminally ill.
Yeah.
I've taken it, and it's like has eased, like improved their own quality of life immensely, and has just put them at ease with their. Yeah. This is not the end. This is just another experience, which makes like there's I think the questions. What has happened is the questions that people are the answers that people are looking for through religion are actually really accessible to us, and they are around us, and they come from the. They
grow in dark, wet places.
Like the answers we've just become so far removed from it, and we have become so advanced in our societies that the further we advance our society, the more we remove from the spiritual element and the connectivity to the earth, which would definitely foster that feeling of like oneness and spirituality. But the more we advance, the further we get away from it, and the more we start then looking for answers elsewhere where they're not going to be. Whereas apparently as well, it's the part of the plant that makes you hallucinate it's the bit that the plant wants to be eaten. So,
Nick.
Yeah.
Who the fuck do we think we are?
Trying to seem to be.
Fair play to whoever's left.
You said, "Will we do it?"
I stand by this decision. I think it was a good decision.
I don't know.
I don't think they do.
But this is what happens when you do 3 in a row.
I think we're getting on fine.
We started off talking about stag do's, and then it went down to the big questions: is God real? This is my idea of a perfect stag do. Although usually those sentences start with, "Are you religious?" You believe in God? Hurt my ears doing that. Don't do drugs apart from psilocybin.
All the ones that Mick wants.
Anything in a powder.
Yeah,
not worth it.
It's mostly talc.
God's way of telling you have too much money.
Mostly talc. Yeah. Okay. Well, I think we put a nail in that. We did it well. We have.
Well, no, we don't. You're thinking we have 30 seconds left.
No, we don't. I'm not. I'm thinking we have, I think, 5 or 6 minutes left.
Yeah. Let's bring it back home.
Let's bring it back home.
Okay. Boys to Men were a...
how are we going to do it?
Any recommendations? Are you gigging anywhere?
No.
Hit up the Patreon again.
Did I tell you I quit smoking?
Jeez, we did go deep there.
We did, yeah. I think it's okay. It's Matt. I'm going to stay there.
Yeah. And if you are religious, it's grand. I am judging you a wee bit, only off the back of whatever religion that you subscribe to is usually responsible for a huge amount of atrocities in the world, which is why
I just think that there's
a personal relationship with this spirituality, I think, is very healthy.
Some of the best, most talented, most caring fucking, I don't need to say any of that, like are very religious people, you know, like that's and I hope it was clear, and if it isn't, the intention of this or anything that we said is not to cast aspersions on anybody that has any strong belief.
I will defend my right to absolutely rinse the Catholic Church since I was brought up in it.
It's a funny one because, like, I don't know, like, I mean, there's the news there, like fucking, like stuff going on in Afghanistan there, and like, I mean, at the root of that, I guess, at the root of the divisions that have spanned probably fucking hundreds of years now, or thousands, or whatever, how long it's been.
You better not say religion.
Depending on what religion you subscribe to. But I better not say religion for what?
It's colonization. That's the problem.
Yeah. But, I mean, was the root of that not to...
Yeah, I suppose you're right. Yeah,
like
totally.
the Crusades and all that kind of stuff, you know, like would have been, like the root of that would have been to bring Christianity to the poor people who don't have.
You just don't know what you're missing out on.
Yeah, we've got dry, skinny bread.
Loads of wine for some reason.
But none of you are allowed to have it. Only the big man up the top. For the first couple of 1,000 years, we'll read it out in a language you don't understand.
What's not to love?
What's not to love? All you have to do is turn up and be devout as fuck. Give us all your money and
send your child into that dark box
and tell us all your deepest, darkest secrets, and then we'll forgive you if you hold on to these beads and say exactly what I say.
See, that's another thing I do like about Catholicism is I like the ritualistic aspect of prayer and like the rosary. I love an Irish funeral and an Irish wake. I think they're really sad and beautiful traditions.
Yeah,
and like a lot of
what's brilliant,
a lot of the
traditions
that
pagan stuff.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Yeah. Like a lot of the traditions that mean something to me in Catholicism are all rooted in death, weirdly. But I do like the tradition, and I do like collective prayer and stuff. I think that's really there's a really like people chant, like prayer is just chanting in unison, really, and there's a I don't know, there's just a feeling in a room when people are doing that.
There's a fascinating thing that I heard during the week, that there's a culture in South America somewhere that they have a tradition where I think for the month of November they set an extra place at the table for people who've passed on. I think like stuff like that. I mean, like even like, I mean, Halloween is from like a pagan ritual, which was like Samhain, or so in Irish it's Iha Hona, which is Night of the Dead. I mean, there's all these amazing things that like probably at the root of it, like before they've been kind of like adopted and kind of anglicized or whatever you want to call it. I managed to blame the English. It's probably not their fault. Good on yourself, you fucking
no. It usually is. It's usually their fault. Let's be real here. It's usually their fault.
But yeah, like there are some lovely things like that are from 2 more minutes. There are some lovely things that are kind of from like ancient fucking millennia old traditions that have like stood the test of time, that I feel like we have like none of, you know what I mean? Like, and I mean, for all the talk in this country of culture and fucking, we have nothing.
Do you want to know something interesting that I read about cave paintings? Like cave
drawings?
So for a lot of like, a big misconception about cave drawings was that like early man would have been like a cave dwelling things, and this is where they just, you know, where they documented their lives. Mm-hmm. But like I'm not sure if early there was like a cave dwelling aspect to it, but apparently if like there's these like caves, I think it's somewhere in France where it's like a deer. Say it's like it's a deer, but there's like kind of strokes the whole way through it, and then like another element of like so like it's like a deer grazing, and then a deer with its head up, and like it's kind of stroked through like that there, and it's supposed to be like they reckon rather than it just being like a documentative thing, it was a place where you had almost like the fucking cinema. Because if you imagine somebody, if you're deep in the cave, there's going to be no natural light, and you're sitting there with like a torch and the flickering of the light. So this deer is going to, and the flickering of that light and the shadow of the deer, it's going to be, it's like the first moving picture.
Oh, fucking hell.
So they reckon that
That's
those
cool.
caves, rather than like just your kind of bog standard, just documenting what happened or whatever, that they were places of ritual and celebration. And imagine, like, I don't know, that just blew my mind. I was like, that sounds incredible. Like,
it does. Yeah, that's fucking, it's unreal. There's things in like nature, like the fucking, like the Allowee Caves in County Clare, I think they're Allowee. I can't remember. I think it's something like that. I remember seeing, and it was like we went on like a family holiday there years ago, and like there's like things like that in nature that like you stand inside of or whatever, and you're just like this is mental. Like this is what we are. Like this is like whoever was fucking hanging out down here, and there would have definitely been boys hiding or fucking whatever the fuck was going on. Like, you know, like that's like there would have been stuff like there's a mad feeling in places like that where like stuff would have been happening here and they wouldn't have been able to see fuck all. Like mental, like they didn't all have their fucking torches on their iPhones or whatever the fuck it is, you know. But I have one kind of thought linked to that I think might be
see us through,
the key to bring us through for the next few minutes. That'll give a real worthwhile ending, right? First of all, on that, there's a I think there's a lovely like mystery around not knowing enough, as much as we would like to, about the past. There's obviously downsides to it. You know, people have drawn conclusions from stuff probably wrongly that have probably shaped the backbone of societies, you know, around the world and whatever. But it occurred to me the other day, not only do we live in a time where everything is incredibly well documented, people in 1,000 years, on the minutest of levels, will be able to know everything about nearly every person that lived in our generation. And it'll only get more in depth and more invasive. But there's nothing left to the illusion anymore. You know what I mean? There's nothing. And that got me thinking. Me and you are in an industry, and I wonder how unique this is. Me and you are in an industry where I saw a thing on a subreddit called We Are the Music Makers. I was sorting by like top posts of all time, and I think it was like 6 months ago. Rupert Neve died, and Rupert Neve was the guy who made for anybody who isn't into recording music, a Neve console, still to this day are like some of the best sounding preamps and recording equipment and whatever. But like he would have been one of the main innovators of our industry. He was like one of the, for like as we know it now, up until only 6 months ago, he was still alive. There's still a Beatle alive who you could argue were responsible.
There's two of them.
Ringo. Yeah, sorry, but you know, but even the fact that there's one though, like I mean, there are two, but even the fact that there would even only be one, there's still a member of one of the greatest cultural shifts that has essentially informed like nearly all that's come after it, one way or the other. You know, like we're still living in a time where you can actually ask the questions and trace back. I mean, obviously there's been music and there's been performances and there's been whatever, but like the music business, like as we know it, is still actually old enough to remember, which is mental. You couldn't say that about like restaurants. You couldn't say that about like, obviously there's been like innovation in every field, but I don't know like what exactly I think about that, but it's like, but it just like struck me the other day that like we're only, you know, like Bowie died and fucking Prince died, and like obviously there's been Sinatras and people tens of years before them as well that would have been important to people or whatever, but like recording music is like recent. It's like a recent phenomenon. We're in the grand scheme of the last fucking 1,000 years, like we're a blip compared to so many industries that are still kind of in a shape of what they were, you know. And I don't know what that, I wonder if by comparison any industry has changed as much in such a short time, like from where it began to like where it is now. But like, I don't know, there's something like just, I don't know, there's just something really fascinating about that to me, that like those people still exist, and like not a lot of industries can say like the person who invented the fucking whatever, or the person who's responsible for, you know, fucking the creation of like pop music as we know it, or like those kinds of things like still exist today. Like a lot of them, like ABBA are coming out with like a new album, you know.
Are they?
Yeah. Well, there's like they're adding like 5 new tracks to like a new collection of songs. ABBA fucking Gold +1, I suppose. But or 5. But I don't know how to wrap my head around that, like maybe as brilliantly as I would like to fucking put a bow in the episode, but like it's just something that occurred to me the other day, that like we that is kind of a
probably
unique,
worth not stressing about.
Yeah,
in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah, that's probably what it was. Yeah. Well, we go for 4. No.
Good night.